Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah. So thank you so much for this opportunity to be here today. Thank you to the David Lynch Foundation. I'm so excited to be on this panel of really incredible women, and I am looking forward to the discussion and to learning a lot from all of you today. I'm one of the people who knows more about the women and the violence section of the three words in the title than the meditation section, so I will be learning a lot from many of you I know as well. So today, I want to share a little bit with you about why the Novo Foundation believes that ending violence against girls and women is critical to enacting the kind of broad-scale social change we believe that the world needs. So I'm going to just start, though, by sharing a quote from a 16-year-old girl in India who I think actually sums up the need best. She says, "People feel that a girl is meant to be used either as a doormat, a maid, a birth-giving machine, or as a source of physical pleasure. Something concrete seriously needs to be done to change the current scenario, because now a girl does not feel safe even in her own house, let alone in the streets." So at the Novo Foundation, we seek a transformation in global society from a culture of domination and exploitation to partnership and collaboration, empowering girls and women as the primary agents of change. When Jennifer and Peter Buffett, the co-chairs of the Novo Foundation, started the foundation in its current incarnation in 2006, they spent a long time interviewing lots of people to try to figure out where is it that this foundation should focus on? Where would they be able to have the biggest impact? And they met literally with hundreds of people, and they really went deep, and they read a lot, and they just really did a lot of personal work to figure this question out. And they realized that they cared about everything. They cared about health, they cared about water, they cared about the environment, they cared about all these issues. But what they realized is that the degradation of girls and women and the horrific levels of violence that were happening to girls and women were core to every single other issue that they cared about. And what they also realized as they were on this search to figure out where to focus, that there were very few resources that were being dedicated to promoting the empowerment of girls and women. We know that less than half a cent of every development dollar that goes into international development goes directly to an adolescent girl, less than 1/2 of every cent spent. So we know that that is the case. At the same time, we know that adolescent girls are the most vulnerable. They need those resources more than anyone else. And we also know that when an adolescent girl gets resources, she changes her own life, the life of her community, her family, her country. So we know what a good investment that is, and yet it just was not happening. So Soledad, in her amazing introductory video, shared some statistics and information about violence against girls and women and the state that we are living in. I just want to add a few points to that. So we know that 1 out of every 3 girls and women globally, 1 out of every 3, will be beaten, raped, or otherwise abused in her lifetime. We also know that every year, there are 10 million girls who are married as children, 10 million girls who are married before the age of 18. And these girls are often relegated to lives of domestic chores all day, no education, domestic violence at the hands of their much older husbands, and sexual abuse at the hands of those same husbands. In addition, we know that in India, where I'm about to go later on, we know that up to 3 million women and children are trapped in the sex trade in India, and that right here at home in New York City, more than 2,000 children, mainly girls, are being prostituted on the streets, right here in New York City. So these numbers are chilling, but what they don't tell us is what is the impact on girls and women, and why is it so critical that we end it? So I want to share 3 very brief reasons about why we think that we need to end this problem. The first reason is that the threat of violence impacts how girls and women live their lives every day. It literally impacts our every movement. Many girls around the world identify the fact that their teachers ask for sex in exchange for grades as a major barrier to their school attendance. So in one study, 50% of girls in Malawi said that either their teachers or schoolboys were sexually harassing them or sexually assaulting them at school. Here in the United States, the amazing organization Girls for Gender Equity published a book called Hey Shorty, which documented widespread sexual harassment among girls in New York City schools and on the streets. So what impact does this violence have on these girls? I will share the results of one study in Zambia, which I think says it all. When girls in this study in Zambia were asked what strategies they used to protect themselves from violence, 86% of girls surveyed said that their strategy to protect themselves from violence was to, quote, stay home. Girls withdrawing from opportunities, girls playing it safe by limiting their options, crossing out whole parts of their environment, markets, industries, jobs, entitlements, health clinics, education, all arise because of their fears for their physical safety, so that the mere threat of violence actually impacts their potential. The second critical reason we must end violence against girls and women is that while all violence by anyone against anyone is devastating, the thing that's often different about gender-based violence that makes it, I would say, uniquely horrific is that so often the violence is minimized, it's normalized, it's defended, it's called everything but violence. So let me share an example. I just came back from Liberia a week ago, and while there was a woman who described a situation of domestic violence with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend had actually cut off 2 of her fingers. And she had gone to the police to get help and to get redress. And the police sent her home and said, that's girlfriend-boyfriend business. That's not for us. That's for you to take care of. That's your business. That's personal business. Instead of recognizing what happened to her as violence, it was ignored and it was minimized, and she was told that it was her problem. Similarly, millions of women around the world, including in the United States, are forced to trade sex for their survival and are told and are treated also by the law as though it is their fault and they are criminals, not victims of an inequitable system in which for many girls and women, their only asset is their body. There are so many more examples. We only need to remember the origin of slut walks only a few months ago to know that violence against women continues to be defended and normalized right here in the United States and in North America generally. The impact on every girl or woman when violence against us is seen as normal or seen as our fault or seen as not really violence at all is truly heartbreaking. And the third and final reason why ending violence against women and girls is so important and why we must work to create a world where girls and women are safe is because when girls and women are safe and are able to thrive and not merely survive, we can turn ourselves to the tasks of creating a more just, more fair, and more loving world that we would all like to be a part of. Before I end, I just want to return to the 16-year-old girl who I started with and remember what she said when she said that something concrete seriously needs to be done to change the current scenario, and to say that I'm really looking forward to hearing from my fellow panelists and all of you about what can be done to change this current scenario. Thank you.